welcome back to our channel. Tensions in Cyprus have been growing for a while. Israel, Greece, and the Greek Cypriot administration have signed military cooperation agreements. Last month, France and Greek Cypriot administration also signed a status of force agreement, and now media reports say that the UN Secretary General is preparing to introduce a new peace plan. Today, we will discuss the most recent developments in Cyprus with retired Brigadier General Ufuk Uras. Thank you for joining us, General.
Thank you for the kind invitation. It's my pleasure.
Thanks. First of all, General, could you please give us a summary of the latest development in Cyprus? Could you also explain the so-called new UN peace initiative?
You have just mentioned the recent developments, but these developments are not separate developments. Indeed, these are all parts of a geopolitical design, a Western-centered geopolitical design for the future of the region. Not only Cyprus, but Cyprus is now in the center of some developments in the Eastern Mediterranean. Cyprus strategically is at a very important location. It is in between Middle East, Africa, Europe, and there are large amounts of hydrocarbon reservoirs in the Mediterranean which have not been yet extracted. So it seems that the Western organizations and major Western powers aim to control the island by indirect ways. So it seems like the island is going to be internationalized. UN Special Envoy, and not the special representative for Cyprus, but the special envoy of UN, visited some countries in the West and talked to some officials in European Union, NATO, some countries. There were some media reports that there is a plan, but this is rejected. They call it not a plan. They say that it is at this stage only some thoughts, but the fundamental issues which were mentioned in the media have not been denied. So it seems that there is some fundamental principles of a possible peace process. What are the main issues? First, they want to unite the North and the South under a central government. They call it a federation. I mean, it's a bit complicated. They say that when the Greek Cypriots look at the issue, they will see a federation, but when the Turkish Cypriots look at the issue, they will see it as a confederation. It's a bit strange. I mean, it is either a federation or confederation. The second issue is the guarantor status of countries like the UK, Greece, and Turkey will be lifted. The troops will be withdrawn from the island. Cyprus will become NATO member, and NATO will take over the defense and security of the entire island. In addition to that, some territories will be handed over to the Greek Cypriots by the Turkish Cypriots.
You mentioned that according to the UN plan, NATO is envisioned as the future defender of the entire island. Could you give us a bit more detail?
Greece and Turkey are NATO members. Southern Cyprus Greek administration wants to become a NATO member, but Turkey blocks it. According to the so-called initiative, if Cyprus unites, if the parties in the Cyprus unites, they will also become a NATO member, and NATO will take over the defense and security of the entire island, and the forces of nations will withdraw from the island, meaning the Turkish forces. However, this, in my opinion, will not bring stability to the region. The impartiality of NATO is also a matter of question. Based on my experience in NATO, I've seen many times the Europeans have supported Greek positions against Turkey. in NATO. Positioning NATO forces on the island will not provide the security and safety of the Turkish Cyprus as provided by Turkey. So this is a big risk. And the second point is, how long can NATO survive? Next week, there is a summit in Ankara with the participation of head of states, and one of the issues was whether NATO will be able to survive. We are talking about an organization which its survival is at stake. If NATO survives, and if such a plan were to be approved, and if NATO were to be deployed into Cyprus, how far can they sustain this mission? The geopolitical developments are very fast, and it is very difficult to predict the future. So I don't think that this is a right solution. Turkey should continue to maintain its military forces in the island, not part of NATO, but as a guarantor state. Turkey should never give up from its guarantor status. In 1877-78 war, Ottomans lost the war against Russians and sought the support of United Kingdom, but in return handed over the administration of the island to United Kingdom temporarily. However, United Kingdom annexed the island when the First World War broke out. So the future is very difficult to predict, and giving up the sovereignty of the Turkish Cyprus and giving up also from the security and defense which is provided by Turkish armed forces will be a very high risk for the Turkish Cyprus.
What positions are Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots taking regarding the island's future? What might be the best solution for the island's future? What do you think?
Just after the foundation of Cyprus Republic in 1960s, the Greek side started terrorist actions against the Turks in the island. They committed atrocities, massacres, and in 1974, they went further and they overthrew the Greek president of the Cyprus Republic, and they aimed to annex the island to Greece. I don't think that
Yes.
they have given up from these goals. So in the long run, they still have the opinion that they will one day annex the island to Greece. And second, they do not want to see the Turkish side as an equal and sovereign partner. They reject, for example, two identities, two citizenships in the island. They want to see only one citizenship. One of their objectives is also the implementation of EU framework, legal framework in the island, which allows the free movement, free trade, and free settlement of the Europeans, which is very risky because thousands or millions of Europeans may come to Ireland and may settle, and in the long term, they may even force the Turkish Cypriots to leave the island by indirect methods, like economic methods. They can buy land. You know, Israelis have started buying land in the southern Cyprus. 20,000 Israelis reportedly are in the southern Cyprus. So in the long term, this may be an existential threat for the Turkish Cypriots. The Turkish opinion is that before any negotiation, the sovereign equal status of the Northern Cyprus Republic be recognized by UN Security Council and all isolations be lifted, and then the Turkish side will join the talks. The Turkish side also aim a confederation. You know, confederation and federation are very different. In confederations, there are two independent states, and the authorities and rights of the central government is weak. And the confederate states have much higher authorities and rights on their territory and on the administration of their people. So this is the Turkish side opinion. Another one is that the guarantor status of Turkey should be maintained and the Turkish military should be present in the island, not under NATO umbrella, but independently. You also ask my opinion, what should be the best solution for the future of Cyprus. I think two-state solution is the best solution. Westerners try to divide many countries in the world, but this time they try to unite two separate countries. I think there should be two states in the island. There is no need for any unification, and the Turkish government should continue to work for the recognition of the Northern Turkish Republic. Turkey has a very wide network of relations with too many countries in the world, and the world affairs are very dynamic, and the geopolitical environment can change quickly. And I believe that in the midterm or long term, it will be possible for the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus be recognized internationally. And the Turkish military should be present in the island, and Turkey should be the guarantor of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus.
General, thank you very much for giving explanations and information.
It's my pleasure.
There will be a NATO summit in the beginning of next week in Turkey. I think we should make a program regarding results of NATO summit. General?
Yes, definitely. As we promised earlier, we will make it.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for watching us. Hope to see you again on our next programs. Bye.